Hey, how you doing, guys? Packers1 here with another GTFO video, and today I have a detailed weapon guide on the DMR. Now when I go over these detailed guides, I like to break them up into three separate parts. The first part is the description, and this is where we'll take a look at things like its ammo capacity, its damage, and any of that sort of information. The second part will be the pros and cons of the weapon. And last but not least, the third part will be me actually using the weapon against the different types of enemies within the game. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, when it comes to describing the weapon, this DMR has a specific name just like the other guns in the game, and it's called the TR-22 Hanaway Designated Marksman Rifle. However, most players just going to refer to it as the DMR because it's the only one in the game as of right now. Now this gun is considered a primary weapon, and it has a max ammo capacity of 67 rounds, and that 67 does include the magazine. Now speaking of the magazine, each one can hold up to 10 rounds of ammo. It has high damage and a low rate of fire due to it being a semi-automatic weapon. And lastly, the range is long, which means this gun is pretty good when using it to fight enemies on long stretches, such as catwalks for example. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons of the DMR, starting with the pros. Now, number one on this list is that the DMR has very high damage in the sense of dealing with the normal strikers and shooters. In fact, DMR actually has the highest damage output out of all of the primary weapons in the game as of right now. This gun performs very well against the smaller enemies, especially when aiming for the head. So for the small strikers and shooters, it actually only takes one shot to the head to kill them. Second, this gun has high accuracy, so with it being a semi-automatic, shooting accurately really won't be an issue. And the last pro is that this gun has high range, which makes dealing with enemies on long catwalks pretty much a breeze. Now let's take a look at the cons. Now, for me personally, these two cons are very big deal breakers as to why I do not choose this weapon that much. The first disadvantage, and by far the biggest one to this gun, is that it has very low ammo in terms of total capacity and magazine capacity. In my opinion, 10 rounds per magazine just isn't enough, especially when dealing with hordes. If you think about it, every time you ever use your gun in this game, it's during alarm doors or if someone wakes up a room. So because of the nature of alarm doors and waking up a room, you will deal with a horde of enemies almost every time you have to use your gun, and 10 rounds per magazine is just really weak. But even if you can manage the 10 round limit per magazine, being able to only carry 67 rounds will be problematic when playing longer rundown missions. On top of that, you and your team will run through ammo packs quicker as well. And for the second con, I would have to say it is definitely the low rate of fire. Even though the pistol and the DMR are both semi-automatic weapons, the DMR just fires a lot slower. So those are the two biggest cons, but definitely the ammo situation is what's going to kill this weapon. So before I show the DMR in action, I just want to let you guys know that during this section of the gameplay, you're going to notice that my health isn't decreasing and that I'm not flinching when I'm getting injured. That's because I'm just using mods in order to speed up the process of acquiring the footage that I needed. I highly recommend not using mods when playing this game. It does take away some of the fundamental mechanics that make this game really fun. So if you are going to use mods, please use them in a single player setting like I'm doing in this footage, or if you are playing with a group of friends that are completely okay with it. Alright, let's get on with the testing. Alright, and for this test, we're going to do it on the shooters and the strikers. That's the small guys here. So as I said before, this gun can one-shot these guys in the head, as I just showed you in this video right here. One shot to the head is pretty good. Again, it's the highest damage primary weapon in the game. Now for the torso, it ended up taking around, this is the fourth shot, it took around 5 shots to take down this guy. So overall, in general, the DMR does really well against these small guys. And for this test, I was able to get 2 different strikers. Both of them are pretty tanky. These guys have a lot of health naturally. So for the first guy, I wanted to see what would happen when I shot him in the head. And when I did, it took 2 shots to the head to actually knock it off. And then I wanted to see how many bullets it would take to finish him off. So I fully emptied one clip, and now I'm in the process of emptying another one. Now, this guy is missing a head, he's missing around half his body, and he's still up and he's still hitting me. So these guys are no joke, they have a lot of health. And this guy took about 19 bullets, so almost 2 full magazines. And just to confirm that, I wanted to shoot another big striker, except only in the torso. So I was just unloading into this guy here. For the second guy, I'm about 1 whole clip into him. I'm gonna reload real quick here. And I'm still shooting him, so he's missing a chunk out of his body. And pretty soon his head's gonna pop off right about now, I believe. Yep, there it is. And it took about 2 clips to kill him too. So for the first guy, it took 19 bullets, and the second guy, it took 20. And when it comes to the scout, I wanted to do a headshot test. So it took about 2 shots to knock its head off, and the third shot was the final one that killed it. So the DMR does really well against the scouts. And last but not least, for the charger, I wanted to see how well the DMR does against this one too. So I fired about 1 shot. That's number 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it takes about 5 shots to take down the chargers. So DMR does good against these guys as well. So when it comes to the shadow guys, I chose not to include gameplay of them for 2 reasons. The first reason is because they are invisible, and the only way to show the effectiveness of the gun is by hit markers, and those can be a little difficult to see. But mainly the second reason is because the shadow guys have the exact same health as the regular strikers and the regular shooters, so it should cost the same amount of ammunition to take them down. Alright guys, that's a wrap for this video on the DMR. I hope this video and my other ones help you guys decide which weapons are right for you and the rundown missions you guys are playing. So stay tuned for some more of these weapon guides and in-depth videos. And as always, thanks for watching. This is Packers NY, and I'll see you in the next one.